plan is simple. We find it before anyone else does. Any questions?
I have a question.
What the fuck are you looking at?
Duh.
Psst, check out my Patreon. Let's see, what exciting PPG episode do we get to explore this week? Ah yes, it's the Buttercup Job. In case you couldn't already tell, this episode title is obviously a pun on the famous 1979 film, The Odd Job. Or maybe it was 1992's The Paint Job? Or 2008's The Bank Job? Or was it 2003's The Italian Job? 2014's The Nut Job? Or maybe it was just The Job from 2003, 2009, 2014, or 2017. I have no idea. Point is, this title is super generic and unspecific in what exactly it could be a reference to that it might not even be a reference at all, which makes it even more plain and basic because it's just like, The Buttercup Job. There's no ring to it whatsoever. It's a job Buttercup does. At the very least, this episode sees the return of Jemmica once again, who only ever showed up in the season 1 episode, Frenemy, which I recall being pretty neutral towards, so hey, maybe this will be an opportunity to make her character more appealing. Who knows, maybe she'll even turn out to be a more powerful force than we thought, shedding her friendly outward appearance to reveal her true nature to the girls. Guess we'll just jump in and see.
Alright, listen closely. The Doom Cube. An ancient weapon capable of destroying mountains with a push of a button.
So right off the bat, I gotta compliment this episode's introduction. It pulls us right in with Jemmica explaining her plan to the girls, but then proceeds to twist things around with Bubbles asking what the heck is going on here. I like this because it's sort of like a jump cut in time. We're beginning after the events have already started and are led to imagine what exactly happened ourselves via the clue that the episode gives us. It is through implication that we can imagine Jemmica just driving straight through the wall and busting into the dining room demanding the girls' help. What exactly does she need help with? Why, she wants to find the ultra-powerful Doom Cube that's apparently capable of destroying giant landforms, and she wants to do this before another evil entity gets to it first. So she's enlisting the girls' help on this quest because she can't accomplish it alone. Another factor that scores this episode some more positivity points is that it acknowledges the last time the girls had an encounter with her, where she tried to mind control them, only for her to nearly die on an exploding jet plane. It's good to acknowledge that, hey, the girls aren't just going to willfully forget what she's done to them in the past and are completely opposed to helping her when she almost tried to let their father die. Well, at least 2 of them aren't. Buttercup, on the other hand, is completely captivated by the allure of Jemmica's adventurous descriptions, drooling at the thought of getting to experience explosions and peril, to which Blossom denies her the opportunity to do so. The Powerpuff Girls are a pure-natured team, and no way would she allow themselves to team up with an untrustworthy rival given these circumstances. It does seem way too convenient that no other villain has attempted to acquire this device until now, after all. Buttercup's upset that it's a no deal from her sister, so she sneaks out later that night to accompany Jemmica all on her own. The two then proceed to head deep underwater in order to find the lost city of Atlantis, because it's apparently guarding the map of where the Doom Cube is located, which will be necessary for the two of them if they wish to acquire this illustrious weapon of mass destruction that they keep talking about. Why the map is hidden in Atlantis, we'll never know because it's never explained. But here we get a nifty moment of Buttercup using her Green Lantern powers to form a submarine that the two of them can travel in. Certainly feels a bit more personable compared to just hopping in a regular dinky old submarine, so I'm cool with it. I think her transforming into a helicopter was a little redundant, but using this as an ability to travel through sea is fine by me. It actually makes a lot of sense.
So wait, there it is.
Jerry's bait shop?
I mean, I don't know what a bait shop is doing 20,000 leagues under the sea, but yep, they've managed to discover the lost city of Atlantis just like that. And considering the giant neon lights pointing in the direction of the city, I don't know, it kinda looks like it isn't that lost after all. It's pretty hard to miss this one. It certainly looks deserted though. There's not a single soul in sight of the city's interior when Buttercup and Jemmica are driving on through in the submarine. Kinda makes you wonder. Jemmica hashes out a plan with Buttercup on how they're going to steal the map to the Doom Cube in their submarine, but Buttercup isn't quite fond of the idea of stealing it from underneath Poseidon's nose.
You mean steal it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was traveling with Buttercup, not Blossom.
Oh, burn!
Well, damn. Guess Rob Paulson's here to give Buttercup hell while she's here in the city of underwater fish people. Speaking of those fish people, Buttercup and Jemmica throw on these mermaid tails as disguises and encounter them guarding Poseidon's treasure room. But considering these fish people are about as smart as coral, they can't see past their disguises. Atlanteans sure hate humans after all, at least in this universe, and we wouldn't want our heroes to get caught so easily. Unfortunately, they kinda do catch on after Jemmica manages to secure the map.
Uh-oh.
Human!
She's got legs!
Seize the human intruders!
Both of them escape just in the nick of time, although Poseidon himself manages to sneak up on the two girls, which scares Buttercup into blasting him with her heat vision, killing him instantly.
He snuck up on us and... Oh. He isn't moving.
Well, that makes one of us. Come on, let's go.
Although this moment isn't really as impactful as it could be, I mean, between Buttercup's off delivery and Jemmica being less surprised by the event doesn't make the death of the ruler of the undersea kingdom seem like something we should care about very much. It kinda just relies on us already knowing who Poseidon is for it to have meaning, and even then, how does this affect us or the main characters? I mean, you might think, well, Buttercup just killed someone, but the ending actually kind of ruins that point if you know what happens, and if you don't, well, we'll be getting there momentarily and then you'll see what I mean. They don't even hide the body, they just leave his corpse out in the open for someone to find. Like, talk about incompetence, Jemmica. Well, Buttercup gets back into her submarine form and begins to contemplate her actions, feeling guilty for the death of the undersea king that she had caused, while Jemmica pretty much tells her she can't handle the risks of adventure. You know, if Buttercup just took down her Green Lantern power right now, Jemmica would have no chance at survival. She could wipe out this villain right now if she wanted to, and nobody could stop her. Just saying. So the two surface through frozen ice in Antarctica, directly in front of this frozen ice cavern where the Doom Cube is supposedly located. It doesn't look like much, but then again, I suppose you'd want your location to be as inconspicuous as possible, considering you're hiding a weapon of mass destruction that nobody knows where it came from. Still, the two manage to enter the cave with ease and grab the cube, with Buttercup agreeing to side with Jemmica and quit being a Powerpuff Girl so that the two of them can rule the world together. Doesn't sound very believable, does it?
Let's do it. I'm through being a Powerpuff Girl.
Yeah, this is kind of where the episode reveals it's a ruse, and Buttercup isn't entirely serious about going on this mission with Jemmica. I mean, the status quo is God, you kind of see it coming. I'll admit it had me at first when she zapped Poseidon, but here's where it lost me. The cave begins to collapse after Buttercup lifts up the Doom Cube and the two run for the exit, but Jemmica gets grabbed by one of the skeletons and starts getting dragged back into the cave while Buttercup escapes. Of course, being the hero that she is, she decides to rush back and help Jemmica while simultaneously getting captured herself. Good going, Buttercup. Nice job. Great work. Now, the question is, does Jemmica return the favor and help out Buttercup, or does she ditch her in the dust and take the cube for herself?
Sorry, Buttercup, but sometimes you have to make the tough calls. And well, this is one of them. Jemmica!
Yeah, not really surprised there. I'm sure everybody saw that coming. Luckily, the girls already planned for this to happen from the very start, and Blossom manages to stop Jemmica dead in her tracks while snatching up the Doom Cube and explaining the whole thing. See, it turns out that the girls actually thought up this plan on their own. Buttercup would earn her trust on the inside and relay everything back to Blossom and Bubbles from the sidelines, while they did nothing because Buttercup's always the one doing all the work. We know, we get it. Last episode was an exception. Now, Jemmica thinks she can at least blackmail Buttercup with her having blasted Poseidon earlier, so she could tell all of Atlantis what she did and get the fish people on her, but luckily, somehow, the girls are friends with Poseidon and have been for quite some time now. Also, ironically enough, this is the second character in the span of a few episodes that Fred Tatasciore has voiced, who also happens to have an overactive affection for acting and theater.
I shall display to you true theater with his stellar performance, acting.
But don't fish people hate humans? So then why is Poseidon buddy-buddy with the human world, yet his guards chase out everyone in sight? I mean, like, this isn't a case of the guards being in on it too, because how did Jemmica know that fish people don't trust humans? Where was she led to believe that? Where did she get that from? No idea. Well, that doesn't matter because she gets away anyways. Sure, the girls destroy the Doom Cube, but Jemmica smoke bombs out of there and disappears into the ether, presumably. I don't know. With the girls doing the same and abandoning Poseidon in the dust. You know, we never do find out what that cube actually does. The episode just says it can destroy mountains, but like, how? Does it emit a shockwave or an EMP? Where did it come from? Why does it exist? So many questions. As an episode, the Buttercup Job is pretty alright. I'd say it's a pretty standard cartoon episode all around. Certainly doesn't blow us away or anything, but I do like the cleverness of how the episode relies on the viewer to piece some of the narrative together in a way that actually makes sense. We can infer what happened when Jemmica crashed through the wall in her Jeep. We can infer what Buttercup's messages back to the girls were while she was exploring with Jemmica. These were things that didn't necessarily need to be shown, but still helped explain what was going on. The central focus here is supposed to be on Jemmica and Buttercup, and honestly, Buttercup communicating with her sisters would just be a tedious exposition dump that would tell us things that we already know about what we're seeing. This information is not vital, and thus it is left up to our imaginations rather than outright showing us. It also makes sense for the characters. Not only do they acknowledge that they don't trust Jemmica after what happened last time, but their whole plan to convince her that Buttercup wanted to join her worked because that was always a part of the plan to begin with. In other words, they managed to outwit her by turning her own plan against her. She figured she could just go in and turn Buttercup against her sisters using her desire to do more adventurous things. She did cling to Jemmica's adventurous side the most, in front of me after all, but clearly she didn't spend enough time around the girls during that first episode to know how loyal Buttercup could be. Sometimes. So yeah, overall this is a decent episode and I'm totally gonna make that clear. This is alright stuff, and I'd say give it a watch if you're interested. It may not be mind-blowing, but aside from a few unanswered questions, this one really doesn't have that many flaws.